Maybe that's laziness too. But yeah, I'm usually sort of surprised by what comes out thematically, I think. But I think, or I hope, that if you sort of have a decent attitude towards the world, I think that will usually, show itself by the end of the movie. Conversely, I think there are probably directors who hate the world, and it kind of shows by the end, even if they're trying not to show it. I won't mention any names, but I think you can discern their themes by accident almost. Yeah, no themes. I would again find that too constricting. I do almost like the idea of writing something that isn't necessarily what I believe in politically. I think that stuff by the end will show itself, but I do, especially like with Sam Rockwell's character in this, who's a racist and a horrible person, you still have to be truthful to that person and not be judgmental. And if you're laying an opinion on top of it, I don't think you're free to create the character as freely as you can. I think that's probably why a lot of the issues that came critically about that character came up, is that it was almost maybe not judged enough in the film for a certain level of film criticism, maybe.
Okay, Martin, I think maybe you might have had enough of me playing the shrink. So maybe we'll just open up briefly to the floor. So that maybe we can take one or two questions from the audience. If you do have any questions, please come up to the front, sort of the front, and we'll have a microphone here. So if you do have questions, please do raise your hand and then come to the front.
Hello. Can you hear me properly?
It's
nerve-wracking, to be honest. Sorry. First time using a microphone. I have a question prepared, and it's regarding, well, first of all, I think I speak for everyone in the room when I say that it's an honor to have you here. It's a really great moment, and I'm very nervous, to be honest.
Me too.
So my question is regarding the theme of poetic justice and the optimistic end to the film, as Jason eventually undergoes a form of metamorphosis. So considering some time has passed since you directed the film, and there's sort of an ongoing crisis and attitude towards law enforcement in the US and kind of worldwide as well, and it's quite deteriorating if you consider the relationship. So in hindsight, is there anything you would change to the film, or would you keep the ending, the same?
I think I would definitely keep the ending as is. I'm not sure if it is a hopeful ending or not, to be honest, because they're still in the car. They are discussing not killing the guy, but they're still driving somewhere. So it's kind of interesting, I think, to leave that in the audience's heads. But no, I don't think there's anything I would change about it. I hope it sort of captures what I thought of as America then, and I don't think that has changed in the years since, really. But that's not necessarily all negative either.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Thank you for the opportunity. And my question is about Sam Rockwell's character in Billboards and the Seven Psychopaths. I think maybe is his character queer in some way in Billboards? I guess it's a hint, but did you intentionally blur the line of his sexual orientation? And is the character defined before you cast Sam Rockwell for it, or maybe you imagine the character while thinking about Sam Rockwell? Yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
In terms of the gayness of the character, I don't think I really saw that so much. I know he's sort of a mummy's boy a little bit, but that's as far as I go with that. But I definitely wrote that part for Sam Rockwell, or how I heard Sam's voice in my head. Maybe he just brought all the gay aspects of it to himself. Next time I'm here, I'll bring Sam with me and we can...
Thank you very much. I look forward to that moment. Okay, but I think...
I'm sorry to interrupt. There's just one thing, because we have a special guest here in our audience who would also want to pose a question to Mr. Martin Madonna, is animator Bill Clinton.
Oh.
Thank you. Hi. Where did your dark sense of humor come from?
Ireland. Good question. I guess so. I don't know. I've always naturally, laughed at the wrong things, I think. But it's probably my love of movies. Maybe I think Scorsese movies have that kind of thing, and it's probably I blame the movies. Thank you, movies. Thank you.
Okay, a lady over there, please.
I have a question about directing the dialogue scene, because usually when we're shooting dialogue using master and cover shots, it's different from theater, because the performance in theater is more continuous. So, especially when you have that much tension within the dialogue. So, are all those dramatic conflicts formed in one continuous shot, or they just gathered from different shots in editing?
I think it changes with each scene, really, but I do know. So sometimes I think, especially if it's an angry sort of scene, you just need everyone to be up to speed, even in the wide shots. The length of the scene should be as long as an angry version of that scene would be. But I definitely, there's one thing I always do, I never move on from a scene or a scene shooting unless I've heard truthfully every single line of dialogue, at least once. So I know that in the edit there will be at least one true, completely true version of every single line. Usually, I don't really, most actors would have like 4 or 5 takes on a close-up. I don't usually go further than that, but that will have been done the whole scene from start to finish. Usually, if there's like one line you're keeping going to find it truthfully, or you'll have truthful versions of all the other lines too by that time. But I definitely recommend not moving on. And it's harder with lower budget things too, but try not to move on unless you've definitely heard everything truthfully.
Please, yes.
So hi Martin, it's nice to meet you here. So for me, the chemistry between you and Sam Rockwell is quite like the chemistry between Christopher Nolan and Cillian Murphy. So my first question is...
In a gay way? Thank you.
So my first question is it possible that one day
We'll have a baby?
that we have a film that directed by you, with Sam being the one and only leading actor, just as what Chris and Cillian did in Oppenheimer?
I think if I have other actors around him, my true feelings for him won't be as visible to everyone on set. So I think I seldom have stories where there's just one sort of lead, as it were, actor. I think the next thing that hopefully is with Sam and Chris, they're sort of both leads in a way. Maybe you're right. Maybe we need to get a Best Actor Oscar for Sam to go with his supporting one. No, I think I do like, collaborative scenes that are not just based on one character, I think. So I think I'll continue that way.
Yeah, I got that, thank you.
Thank you.
So my second question is, have you considered working with Cillian Murphy on a film that tells an average story?
I think Christopher Nolan will be jealous if I... Weirdly, one little fact that not many people know, I've got a play called The Pillar Man, and Cillian, 30 years ago, was in the original read-through of that in Ireland. He'd only made one film at the time. So I've known, weirdly, Cillian, since 1995, before you were born. And I'm kind of just glad that, the world has seen what we knew in Ireland for many, many years.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that's your casting sorted, right? Martin for your next film. Sam Rockwell, Cillian Murphy, produced by the guy called Christopher Nolan.
Cool.
With Brendan, of course. I think we are running out of time. I'm sure there are a lot of questions still, but as I mentioned, tomorrow, Martin was to join us for the post-screening question and answer session after the Banshees of Inisherin. So if you haven't got your tickets for that, please do, and that will be the opportunity for you to ask questions. I'm so sorry, you can see the enthusiasm, Martin.
Just one quick
Okay, one more question. Okay, please.
Hi, can you hear me? Hi, Martin.
Hi.
Extremely honored to be here and listen to your talk. So we as Hong Kong U students have actually produced and acted in a Mandarin version of The Pillow Man last semester. Yeah, so I was wondering, what are the different considerations in drafting up the language of the characters? For example, the pace, the explicitness of the language, how do the dialogues help in developing or improving the plot lines? What are the different considerations and priorities?
Good question. I think I love dialogue just for the sake of dialogue in lots of ways. And in Pillow Man, I think there's sort of just joy to be had in listening to these characters talk for ages. I'm not sure really. I think there's a lot of leeway to play those characters, in different ways. But again, as long as you're hearing the truth of the lines, you're probably in the right area.
Just the truth of the line.
Yeah. Every line you say, you should believe this character is truthfully meaning this at that moment.
Thank you.
I think with that, we might have to conclude our conversation today. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for having me.
I hope everyone can stay in your seat because I believe we'll be happy that Mr. Madonna can take a photo with the whole audience. Okay? So please come down here and we will just stand in front. Thank you, Mr. Madonna. It's lovely evening. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. Bye-bye.